Art can be beautiful, but sometimes it becomes something else entirely. Something alive, something hungry. His early drawings were nothing unusual. Portraits, landscapes, quiet street corners. Lines grew darker, faces became distorted, and every new page showed figures standing behind the artist, watching him. The last drawing discovered was a perfect sketch of the abandoned studio, but someone new was standing in the center of the frame. When questioned, not a single officer admitted to drawing it. To this day, the sketchbook is locked away, but stories continue to spread. Some say if you stare at one of its drawings too long, the figures begin to shift. Others believe the book doesn't record the past. It predicts the future. And the artist, wherever he is, never stopped drawing. He just found a new way to finish his work. The river looked calm under the moonlight, its surface reflecting the stars like a mirror. I stepped closer, drawn by the silence, unaware of the subtle currents beneath my feet. As I waded in, the water seemed to shift, tugging at me gently but firmly, as if it had a mind of its own. I struggled to move, but the deeper I went, the heavier it felt, and shadows seemed to swirl beneath the surface. A whispering sound echoed around me, repeating my name softly, sending chills down my spine. Just when I thought I would reach the shore, the water pulled me a little further, and for a moment I felt as if the river itself was alive, watching, waiting. Eventually I reached the bank, soaked and shivering, but with the memory of the river's strange, quiet pull lingering, and the feeling that it was far from over. The river glimmered under the pale moonlight, calm and inviting, but an uneasy feeling settled over me as I approached. The air was thick with silence, broken only by the soft lapping of water against the bank. I stepped in, feeling the cool current brush against my ankles, then calves, tugging gently but insistently. Shadows shifted beneath the surface, shapes that seemed almost alive, moving with purpose. A whisper, soft and indistinct, drifted over the water, repeating my name in a voice I couldn't place. With each step forward, the water felt heavier, as if it were testing me, pressing on my senses, making every movement harder. When I finally reached shallow ground again, I shivered uncontrollably, drenched and breathless, carrying with me the unnerving sense that the river had noticed me, and that it would not forget.
Some artworks reveal truth, but some reveal things that should have stayed buried. Hidden behind a cracked wooden cabinet, they found a massive rolled canvas sealed in layers of cloth. No one knows how, but the figure in the painting was different the next morning. It stood closer to the edge of the canvas, arms stretched outward, as if reaching for whoever dared approach. Terrified, the students reported everything to the authorities. But when investigators arrived, the canvas was blank, completely wiped clean, except for a single new sketch at the bottom corner. A rough charcoal drawing of all 5 students, standing in the exact positions they were in the moment they discovered the painting. Since then, the students have claimed the same nightmare. They stand in a dark forest, surrounded by twisted trees, while something faceless moves between the shadows. Some say the canvas doesn't show art, it shows what's coming. And once the figure chooses you, it won't disappear until you do.
The lake lay still under the cold glow of the moon, its surface like glass, reflecting the stars above. I walked along the edge, feeling the soft mud beneath my feet and the chill of the night air. As I stepped into the water, it shifted around me, tugging gently at my legs, almost guiding me deeper. Shapes moved just beneath the surface, dark, indistinct forms that made my heart race. A soft, melodic whisper floated through the air, carrying my name. Every step felt heavier, the water pressing against me in ways I couldn't explain. When I finally stepped back onto solid ground, I shivered, drenched and wide-eyed. I couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that the lake had noticed me, and might remember me when night fell again.
Art has the power to imitate life, but in this story it does something far worse. It begins when a young filmmaker bought a mysterious box of old illustration reels from a flea market. With each frame, the hallway grew darker and a shadowy figure appeared at the far end. He turned slowly, but nothing was there. Terrified, he tried to destroy the reel, but the final frame burned itself into the wall. A detailed drawing of his empty studio. His chair was overturned, his camera lay shattered, and in the center of the room, a crude, shaking sketch of a human figure, head tilted, staring forward as if frozen mid-scream. To this day, no one knows what happened to the filmmaker, but sometimes late at night, neighbors report seeing flickering light through the studio windows, like an old projector still running. And if you look closely, a moving shadow can be seen pacing inside, frame by frame, waiting for someone new to watch the reel.
The river stretched silently under the moonlight, smooth like black glass, reflecting the faint glow of the stars. I stepped onto the muddy bank, feeling a chill crawl up my spine as the air hung heavy and still. When I waded in, the water lapped gently at my legs, tugging ever so slightly, as if testing me. Shadows beneath the surface shifted, dark shapes that seemed to watch and follow my movements. A soft whisper carried across the water, my name, barely audible, sending a shiver through me. With each cautious step, the water felt heavier, pressing against me, urging me to move slowly, to hesitate. When I finally returned to the shore, soaked and shaken, the river lay calm again, but the uneasy feeling lingered as though it had marked me and would remember.
The deeper she worked, the stranger things became. When she returned the next morning, the canvas was ripped along the left side, and black paint, fresh, dripping, covered the studio floor like blood. The portrait itself was blank again, wiped clean. But the nightmare didn't end there. Weeks later, the restoration artist began noticing dark smudges on her walls shaped like fingerprints. Then came the sketches, rough charcoal drawings appearing in her apartment, showing the same man from the painting roaming different rooms of her home. In one drawing, he stood right beside her bed. In another, he crawled out from a shadowed corner. The final drawing was taped to her mirror, a detailed portrait of herself asleep with the man leaning over her shoulder. She moved out the next day, but neighbors still report seeing a tall, shadowy figure wandering the hallway. No one knows where the original canvas is now, or if the portrait is still unfinished, searching for someone new to complete it.
The river looked calm under the moonlight, almost inviting, but a chill ran down my spine as I stepped closer. The water swirled gently around my ankles, tugging softly, as if testing me. Shadows shifted just beneath the surface, dark shapes moving silently, following my every step. A faint whisper floated over the water, repeating my name in a voice I didn't recognize. Heart racing, I backed away, but the water seemed to resist, pulling just a little, urging me forward. I reached the shore, drenched and shaken, but the river remained calm, smooth, as if it had been alive the whole time and it would remember me forever.
Some stories are written with ink, but this one was written with fear, sometimes standing in a doorway, sometimes hiding behind furniture, sometimes crouched in the ceiling corners. One night, a guard reviewing security footage nearly quit. He watched the figure in one drawing slowly raise its head and look directly into the camera, even though the paper itself never changed. Curious and terrified, a historian researched the orphanage's past. What she discovered was horrifying. The children who lived there decades ago all complained about the same thing, someone whispering their names at night, even when the room was empty. They said the listener would appear whenever they cried, crouching beside their beds, his head tilting in unnatural angles as he watched them sleep. And sometimes, they swear a new drawing appears, always freshly colored, always warm to the touch, and always featuring someone who visited the room recently. Because once you see the listener, he sees you too. Inside each envelope was a single sketch drawn in trembling graphite lines. The drawing seemed harmless at first, empty streets, quiet houses, lonely windows. He packed his belongings and fled town the same night, leaving the envelopes behind. Weeks later, police entered his abandoned home. They found every wall covered in sketches, hundreds of them, drawn in frantic streaked lines, all showing the same figure moving closer and closer through the rooms until the final drawing depicted the mailman being dragged into a dark, door-shaped void. No one knows where he went, or who or what was sending those envelopes, but locals say strange mail still appears in the old sorting office, new drawings stamped with future dates, each one predicting a place where the shadow will appear next, and one of the newest drawings shows someone standing exactly where you are right now.
Tonight's story comes from a small-town art class where a student handed in a sketch that looked strangely alive. At first, they were faint, barely visible. Within hours, students complained that the sketch made a soft scratching sound like pencil on paper, even when no one was touching it. One girl swore the drawn figure shifted its posture, turning its head slightly each time she looked away. Cameras captured nothing, but the paper grew colder and the graphite darkened, as if the drawing was rewriting itself, line by line, stroke by stroke. By nightfall, the drawing was gone from the classroom. Only a torn sheet was found, and on it, a fresh sketch of the teacher, drawn with terrifying accuracy. Her eyes wide, her expression frozen in fear. She never came back the next day, but the drawing did. And this time it wasn't on paper, it was on the hallway wall, slowly expanding, as if the art itself had learned how to escape.